Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking Teal, Season 6, Episode 11. I'm Yaron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And we are Lady Parts TV. And welcome to the almost finale.
I have to say that I'm glad.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
I want to see what's happening. I want everything that can be resolved to be resolved. And that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, are you tired of the show? You're ready for it to be
I'm
over?
not tired of the show.
So what?
I
know you're tired of getting up early.
It's not that early.
On Sunday morning.
You haven't been too bad. Yeah, I'm just ready.
Okay, well, 2 announcements before we talk about the episode. The first is if you go on our website, ladypartstv.com, and click on the blog section there on the blog tab, you will find a blog post that explains everything you need to know about, it's a guide to your submissions. The Talking Teal Wrap Party will happen on Sunday, September 16th. The deadline for submissions is Thursday, the 13th at noon Eastern Time. And you have both the explanation about the creative, personal. It doesn't have to be creative. It can just be a video message or anything like that. Something that you write to us. But we also, especially love when people take it to the next level and do something fun. But also,
Please don't moon us.
There will be a survey that I will post Tuesday right after the finale airs, so this Tuesday, the 4th. I will immediately post the questionnaire for all of you. It's for Talking Teal Wrap Party, so please answer as many or as few questions as you want and email them to us also before the deadline. So that's number 1. Number 2, next week...
That was only number 1?
Yes.
Wow.
That was the first announcement. The second announcement is next week, Talking Teal will happen on Monday rather than on Sunday. It serves 2 purposes. The first is...
I have a photo workshop with the best island photographer, Allison Shaw, who I have admired for more than 2.5 decades.
Check it out, people. Mimi will be up at sunrise.
At sunrise. 2 days in a row.
So she won't be here Sunday, so we'll have to shoot it on Monday. But at the same time...
I might not be here Monday.
But at the same time, it will also give you an extra day to write about the finale, which I think is a good thing. So since it's on Monday, the deadline for submissions will be Sunday at Eastern Time, September 9th. So that will just maybe allow more people to write in, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Alrighty then. Indelible Ink, written by John Ridley and Marcia Gardner. Again, big people. And directed, as I suspected, because he always directs the finales, Kevin Carlin. And it was very, very, very packed with storylines and action.
Oh my God.
In fact, some of you thought it was a bit too packed. As Rachel says, they called it Indelible Ink, the writer's shortened version of, oh shit, we just have 2 episodes left and we have a ton of crap to wind up. Let's just bombard the audience with all the stuff we need in place to wrap the season up. They can take it.
And we can.
I really enjoyed it. There were some problems that we'll talk about, but I thought it was a very strong episode. A lot happened. And in fact, maybe I think that they should have had more of that a little bit more towards earlier in the season rather than...
yeah, there was a long build-up.
Yes.
The show was a long... Hello.
Somebody feels very passionate.
A blue jay.
Yes.
It was a long build-up. Things took a long time to get where they're going.
Now, we have to start by talking about our biggest problem of the entire season, but culminating in what I describe as what the actual fuck, Allie. So,
now, mind you, I think the season has been really, really good.
Not when it comes to Allie, but in general.
But with the major exception of what they did to Allie.
Yeah, and this has been going on for a while, but this episode was just... It just took it one step too far. And you all have a lot of very strong feelings about the subject matter.
Strong.
Let's start with possibly the person who had the strongest feelings, Lauren.
Oh, Lauren, baby, I'm with you. Let's talk about Allie for a minute. And it's actually going to be way more than a minute.
Yeah.
I haven't at all enjoyed how little the writers have given this character and how they've turned her into someone we don't particularly like right now. because a lot of her actions are plot driven and don't ring true for the character we were first introduced to in season 4.
Yes.
And let me just interrupt a little bit and say that a lot of times characters do change in prison, but she has not changed in a believable way.
No, and I just want to say about turning into a character that we don't like. Everybody loved that she gets bitch slapped, which would never have happened before.
Allie is beloved. Allie, I think, of almost all the characters, was pretty much beloved by all.
Yeah. So that was
her introduction was so strong.
And she was part of a couple that we loved.
She
became the legacy, B's legacy.
Right.
We rooted for her to get revenge, to move on, you know.
None of which, well, we did get a moving on. We got a very quick moving on in the wrong direction.
The second thing about not liking her is I actually, when Ruby broke up with her, I was for Ruby. I was like, of course, I would break up with her too. That was a shit move that she just did, and I wouldn't be able to trust her either. Except
that Ruby didn't.
No,
do
that but I'm saying I would have broken up with her. Yes. Anyway, go
on. She's been, I know where we are.
Sorry.
She's been in Mary's pocket since Mary arrived in the prison. I mean, right after Marie's overdose, Allie is promising her to ensure that Taylor has flushed the rest of the gear. She's doing errands for her. Then, Allie passes information on to Ruby about the CCTV being found. Super plot-driven. In one way, I like that the writers have tried to make an intricate web between these characters. If it had been more believable, I might have fallen for it. I get that Allie thinks she is someone who doesn't want to get anyone hurt. But she is paying a price for learning that sitting on the fence actually can end up hurting people, including herself. She's been manipulated as much by Mary as Mary has led her to believe Kaz has manipulated her. Just the whole, I'm not choosing sides, I won't do that again, is directly linked to what Mary told her towards the start of the season about Allie only seeing things through Kaz's eyes, which cleverly made Allie divorce herself from Kaz and her take on things. The fact that Kaz slapped Allie for her betrayal is totally appropriate. And for those fans who say Kaz betrayed Allie to be, yes, she did. And Allie smacked her one for that also. It did reveal Allie is strongly aligned with Mary. Why else would she disclose such a thing, all in the name of not letting anyone get hurt? In actual fact, it only served to make the rift between Kaz and Mary worse, which could ultimately end with one of them being dead. Allie failed to see the real ruthlessness of Mary. Obviously, Mary hid the side of herself from Allie in their relationship because Allie apparently didn't think Mary would go straight to Kaz and confront her with something Allie had told her in confidence.
No.
There are no confidences in prison.
Well, I have
just like there's no tears in baseball. There are no confidences in prison.
I especially have a problem with this because, and as I was watching it, especially the first time, I was thinking, you know, if they really wanted us to believe that Allie was so aligned with Mary that she would betray Kaz, who up until now was really like a mother to her, the person who saved her. If they really wanted us to believe that, they had to do one or both of two things. One is show us their background. Don't just show us a little of Allie with Danny and all. Show us their history between the three of them. Make us understand more about what the kind of relationships that they had together. And secondly, throughout the season, and we wanted it even regardless of this, show us more of Mary luring Allie in. Allie, their relationship, their closeness. They barely showed us any of that stuff. So I didn't find it believable also because we didn't get enough lead up to that.
No, I think that the whole Allie-Mary relationship has been played wrong.
Yeah.
A lot having to do with Ruby. And I don't know whether it's because the show is so chock full of things going on. We just haven't gotten any backstory.
No, barely.
And you need backstory,
especially for big
in
characters
prison
like
dramas.
that.
You just need to know where these people have come from,
well,
so that their relationships don't spring full blown in prison with no context.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you put in an ensemble of people who have nothing to do with each other, okay.
That's
but if you're putting in these three people whose entire storyline this season was premised on their history, then you have to give us more. Not just between Allie and Mary, but also between Allie and Kaz and Mari, and the triangle.
Yes.
That was very sorely missing. Now, Thera, who, by the way, started her email apologizing for swearing in her previous email.
It's hilarious.
Sarah,
Sarah, have you not watched us?
If there's anybody you don't need to worry about swearing with, it's us. I mean, we happen to think that it's a very effective way of expression.
I love swearing. The only thing that I have discovered is that I'm swearing so much more these days because of Trump. I believe that Trump has instilled a certain amount of rage in me that I've never sworn this much, and I swear a lot.
Yes, well, we believe in swearing, so go ahead, swear.
Yes,
no,
don't
as
worry.
long as you're not
Swear
swearing
away.
at us, we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Thera.
I totally didn't understand Allie in this episode.
Oh, hold on a second.
Some scratching going on.
No, it's that bag. Louise is in a bag. Okay, now she's in a bag, so she'll stay in the bag.
Let's
probably.
hope. What bag did you just get in?
The black dog bag.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's a paper bag. That sounded like...
That's a paper bag.
Oh, okay.
Thera.
I totally didn't understand Allie in this episode. Firstly, because she was super close with Mari all of a sudden. Even closer than in previous episodes. Like Mari has wound her around her finger by only lying in the medical unit. Allie doesn't seem to absorb all the manipulating Mari is showing throughout the season.
Which, by the way, I don't buy. Again, she knows her long enough, and she's heard all about what she can do from Kaz. Why wouldn't she?
No, it's like Allie has been hit over the head with a stupid stick this season. I just don't understand. She's sort of like a valley girl. Having sex and being fun and doing what she can and trying to make everything nice.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, Allie is a good, loving person, but she's completely lost her edge. Completely. She's just like a cipher, I feel, and it makes me sad. Okay, so back to Allie doesn't seem to absorb all the manipulating Mari is showing throughout the season. Like her giving the overdose to Liz, her working on Taylor, making her an addict the same she did with Allie, bringing in the drugs, she put Ruby and Allie against each other with the pictures, trying to destroy their relationship, and misleading and framing Boomer. And when she ran to Kaz after what Allie told her in private, she basically made everything worse for Allie in prison by going to Kaz in the yard, where everyone could hear it. Mari made Allie a target in prison by revealing her as a lagger in public. She also could have told Kaz in her unit, cell, or Mari's unit. If she really cared about Allie, then she would have thought that through, like she normally does with everything with her manipulative mind. So she doesn't seem to care one bit about the consequences for Allie, or Allie for that matter. She only thought about revenge and herself. Kaz has only been keeping an eye on Mari, and only took action toward her when she almost lost Liz to the hotshot. Allie only seems to think about Kaz trying to kill Mari, but she completely forgets that Mari tried to kill Liz, which happened before Kaz even or ever tried to kill Mari. Allie made her life in prison even worse by pushing the panic button when Mari had already made it worse in the yard.
I just want to say about the panic button, because several of you said that, and I understand that the rules of the prison say don't press the panic button, but Kaz has campaigned to make that a legitimate thing to do, and I think now that Kaz is top dog, I think that it's totally legitimate to press the panic button. I do too.
The panic button is there for a reason.
And Drago pressed it, by the way, as well when Mari had the poison.
Yes, we've had the panic button pressed a few times. I don't think it's...
I think that under Kaz, it's just my opinion.
I mean, that's why it's there.
Yes, but the rules between the prisoners were that if not, you don't involve the screws.
Right. I also don't get how Allie barely showed any emotion when Kaz told her that Mari tried to kill Liz. Doesn't Liz mean anything to her anymore? She's just not making smart choices right now, and that makes her lose everyone except Mari, probably.
Yes, and yes to everything, Thera.
Very, very astute in every way. I'm getting some coffee. So Rachel says, when did Allie fall on her head and become totally stupid, as I just said? She didn't want anybody else to get hurt. She's the one who made Kaz burn her hand to bolster her up as the top dog, and she's surprised when Kaz slaps the taste out of her mouth for lagging to Mari. Well, actually, she didn't make Kaz do it. She sort of gave Kaz permission to do it. And Allie is shocked again when Ruby breaks up with her. Your girlfriend sat on a bench and didn't say a word when you got bitch slapped in front of the whole prison. And you're not a little peeved about that? Allie has spent the last 10 years with Kaz, and she knows Mary intimately. Did she really think that excuse me, did she really think that filling Mary in on Kaz's attempt on Mary's life would end up with Mary backing down because she was about to get out? Please. The Allie we know has never been stupid, and that is absolutely the key. Impulsive, highly emotional, yes, but stupid, no. The only way this part of the plot would make good sense to me is if Allie and Mary were back together as a couple. But they're not, so it doesn't. Then they have Allie break the cardinal rule, which we've just discussed, when she hits the panic button to stop the fight. Allie has never been one to break the inmate code. Why would she start now?
Again, I think that under
That's a
Kaz,
little
that to be,
different,
that's
yeah.
fine. Now, Lauren also said, and I did wonder about that as well, Kaz, Liz, and Boomer's conversation about Mary being the one putting the idea in Liz's head that Boomer killed Cherry. What is with Allie listening in on the conversation subvertly? Shows how much her dalliances with Mary have separated her from the family unit if she is doing that. Previously, she would have been part of that conversation.
Exactly.
I thought it was very weird that she was just, listening in
Hovering.
like a stranger who is, trying to collect information as a spy. Okay, we have a couple more opinions on Allie. We have Laura, who says, I'm writing to rant about the unfairness of Allie's plotline this season. When she met B, she was knowing, as in worldly, and not easily manipulated. She didn't even look up over her novel when the freak tried to mindfuck her. It seems this season she is unknowing, didn't think Mary would repeat the information, and very easily manipulated, as if her, although knowing, likeness has become a flaky innocence. That's exactly what
Allie
I'm saying.
girl, absolutely.
It's also hard to believe that she would truck with Mary's nonsense after finding out she tried to hotshot Liz, unless she somehow regressed to a flashback of herself in that terrible wig. Now, I know that, some people make us do that, but still, Allie has enough support around her, enough people that love her and that she loves, and enough time that passed between then and now to snap out of it, after the first, and all she needs to do is flash a picture of Danny or say the name, and Ali is completely enthralled in, her
Well, I
charm.
think she really did love Al.
I think
Danny.
so too,
I
but
think
that
she helped
still
raise
is
him.
not.
I think she had a great deal.
I still think it's not a justification for what she's doing. Bridget says, Ali is not the woman that Bee fell in love with anymore. Camille
or
says,
us.
Camille takes it a step further and says, Ali is the Doreen of season 6.
Oh my God. Oh, that's going far. But is it going too far? I don't know.
Now, on the other hand, a couple of you had different takes on it, like Shannon.
Shannon. Oh, yes. I was pretty happy with the fact that Allie got a lot of screen time this week. They are finally starting to give her something to do. I like how she stood up to Kaz about not picking sides, even though it's going to cause problems for her in the future. I expect they will get some mileage out of that three-way drama going into the next season, because Allie will either try her best to reconcile with both Kaz and Mary, or she'll be a total outcast. Mary will try to reel her in, and Kaz is likely pretty much done with her if she doesn't cut Mary out. So hopefully that means more character development for Allie next season. Maybe she'll finally realize both Kaz and Mary are crazy manipulators and stand up for herself, kind of like Bee did. Well, that's a generous assessment.
A generous assessment.
Yeah.
Let's see what Sarah says. She also
Let me find Sarah.
she also had a more positive view on this.
Well, that's what makes horse races, as I think my grandfather used to say.
What? That's what makes horses?
Hey, horse races. Yeah. Well, they all have their different, things going on. Okay. They are finally pushing Allie and Mary together. It's about time. I really hope this relationship is building to something next season. Allie chose her over Kaz, so I don't blame Allie. She hates their fighting, and she thought Mary was getting out soon, so she told Mary with good intentions. I just think Allie would be more savvy than this. She's so naive. I don't like this growing idea that Allie is a possession. It's not being directly stated that way, but it is a strong feeling I get, especially from Kaz and Mary. Even with Ruby, it's like Allie has to attach herself to someone in some way. She actually creates these situations for herself.
Definitely.
Yes, Allie has become a barnacle.
I do blame Allie though. I don't think that it's.
Totally. I mean, yes, she's being manipulated, but she does have free will, and she does have a brain.
Yes.
I mean, free will within the confines of.
Now, Susan says the Kaz Mary Allie storyline is so great, and I wish there had been more of it. And I mean, if Allie was so torn between Kaz and Mary, then why wait until the next to last episode to explore that? Jenko has amazing chemistry with both of them. Definitely agree on that, that it took them way too long to get here.
And the chemistry.
And Lily says, the writers could have developed deeper storylines between Kaz, Mary, and Allie because there is definitely enough material to do something. First, you have two beloved characters, especially Allie. You have an interesting and intriguing newcomer. With Kaz, Mary, and Allie, you have strong, complex, but also fragile or even broken women. Furthermore, you have characters that already have a common and conflicted past. And finally, you have three absolutely remarkable actresses.
Excellent points.
Agree on all these things.
Thumbs up.
Now, Denise says that Allie and Kaz will make up and everything will be fine. I don't think that it's going to be that easy at this time.
I would like the season to end with them back.
In one episode for Kaz to forgive her all this, and
That's true, because as much as Kaz loves her, she still is
She really betrayed her.
Yeah, and she's an intelligent woman, and she's the top dog. She can't show weakness.
Now, so Ruby breaks up with Allie, though most of you, or at least some of you, don't think she actually loved her at all, or that her idea of love is
warped.
That her idea of love is not entirely like we feel love is. Also, you don't necessarily think that Allie was truly in love with her, that she was kind of more having fun, or, I don't think at this point we assumed that she was just trying to save her life, because they seemed that they were involved.
No, there was something going on.
Yeah.
Again, it was like a teenage romance to me. Again, it was sort of infantilizing.
Mm-hmm.
Allie.
Yeah. Now, Shannon says, I still didn't really believe Ruby when she said she loved Allie. Again, if she did, she would have done something in the yard when Kaz slapped Allie across the face, top dog or not. But all she did was sit there with Rita and watch. She didn't even go see if Allie was okay. And yet the writers spend a bunch of airtime showing us how broken up Ruby is about the whole thing. If they wanted us to be more invested in that relationship, they should have spent more time in creatively developing it better. More like what you said just now, that it seemed like kind of a superficial,
junior high school romance. Now, I think with sex,
Mm-hmm.
although I think kids are having sex in junior high school now too. I just, and then maybe they just realized halfway through that it didn't work. That's my other thought, and they decided, well, let's just end this thing.
You know what I just think in recent, unfortunately, in the last couple of years of Wentworth, I feel they're working backwards. I feel they have an end game. They know they want to end this, and then they're working backwards to figure out, how can we make the pieces fit? And that's why some of them don't really fit, and they make them fit.
Now that is not that's not an unknown way of doing anything.
As long as you don't compromise.
You have to have those pieces crafted so that they fit without having to be jammed into a hole. Yeah. Exactly. And these are great writers. They have shown time and time again that they are masterful storytellers. And I think that a lot of this season has been really, really, really up to par. But it's a little bit of a downward spiral now, because I think it's this trying, as you say, to get to the end game.
Yes, and we'll talk about it more when we talk about the stalker part, because that's another...
I hate it.
Another storyline where it's very evident is that it just feels like they're really trying to shock us with how great they can put together this web of different things to come together. And it's true, the finales oftentimes are like, wow, how did you pull that off? But again, in order to get to that finale, they oftentimes have to make compromises during the season. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that's the best strategy.
They occasionally jump the shark.
Yes. Now, Denise does believe that Ruby and Allie will get back together.
Oh, no. Come on, Denise.
But a couple of you have interesting theories about this relationship, starting with
Should I begin with Diana?
Please begin with Diana.
The Allie Ruby non-romance. Okay, I have a new theory. Speaking with my straight friends who watch Wentworth, they haven't had an issue with the lack of realism in this relationship. They've been too preoccupied with, is the freak dead, etc. The viewers who have our knickers in a knot about the lack of chemistry between Allie and Ruby are the small proportion of the audience who are lesbian. Small proportion?
It's not quantity, it's quality. Yes.
It's passion, too.
Oh, yeah.
And we care, but not so much that it really matters, at least to the producers. I've now concluded that the lack of visible chemistry between the actors is intentional, as it is clumsy. Non-erotic pseudo-sex scenes between the two characters. Oh, as is the clumsy non-erotic pseudo-sex scenes between the two characters. None of those scenes are going to score high rotation on YouTube. That means the focus can be on the characters and their story arcs, not the romance.
Now,
Well, it's a lot of time wasted on a romance.
I don't think it's
that
true.
is that nobody cares about.
I don't think anybody intentionally would make a couple not work.
No.
But Kathy also...
Although it's not an uninteresting theory, and I like that you've done research with your straight friends.
I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense to me, because why would you intentionally make people like go, why? It doesn't
Yes,
really...
because it's really a lose-lose situation.
Yes.
The straight people don't give a shit, and the gay people hate it. So, duh.
Now hold on, I'm going to take this a step further. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
That's Kathy. If it's the case that Ruby will die, which is what you've been saying all along, in which, between the head banging and Drago being onto her, it seems like it's a likely possibility. I wonder if the writers intentionally didn't make this a great romance like they could have. Fans would be really pissed off if Allie had another great love just to have it end in another lesbian trope. And that made me stop in my tracks and say, whoa! If they kill Ruby, they're going to bury another gay, they're going to kill another love interest for Allie, because whatever happens between them, they have had a relationship. And even if it's not the greatest love story ever told, and even if, they broke up before this, they're still, if Ruby dies, they're still killing off. And it's like Allie bashing.
And here's how much we don't care about Ruby. We didn't even think about that.
No, exactly. We didn't even think about that.
Who was this?
Kathy.
If Kathy hadn't brought this to our attention,
no.
Even if and when it happens, it would never. I would have said, "Oh no, they've killed the lesbian. Oh, they took another relationship away from Allie." Never even would have occurred to me, because to me it's a non-relationship. Yeah. It is not an issue, and we don't care about Allie. So if you kill a lesbian, Ruby's love you, Allie. So, if you kill a lesbian that nobody cares about, does the lesbian die?
Well, she does.
Do we care?
She does, but the caveat is there are several lesbians on this show, and I'm all for having a lot of lesbians. And when there are a lot of lesbians, it's like when Dana died of the L word, like, they killed the lesbian.
But they killed the lesbian that we loved deeply.
No, I know. There are several lesbians on that show, and I feel that, it's, you can't really, sometimes you have to kill the lesbian.
Sometimes you gotta kill the lesbian.
It's annoying when it happens time after time, but more than I would care about that, I would care about Allie. But again, they made that really, I wanted to get rid of that.
They broke up now.
Yes, but still. Anyway, this is all of this is premised on a complete speculation. So we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves, though we already did. So let's move on to talk about Ruby now.
Oh, is it my turn?
No, hold on.
Oh, good.
Okay, Ruby. So I have so many problems with this storyline. Okay, number one. Can anybody please explain to me why she is dressed a certain way at the party and completely differently when she goes to bash Danny? Did she first go and change at home? Lauren said something about that she did see in a picture that she had a hoodie tied to whatever.
Around her waist.
Yeah, but I do think, if I'm not mistaken, that in the video, in the CCTV, she was wearing pants, not a skirt. How convenient that she all of a sudden put her hair up. I mean, why would she put her hair up?
Oh, she would definitely put her hair up. She was trying to look like a man.
Why would she try to look like a man?
I don't know.
She didn't even think about CCTV.
She was trying to disguise herself in case anyone saw her. No. I don't find
I don't know. Did she go
Did
she go somewhere to get a hat, or does she always bring hats with her to bars?
Well, maybe she came from work.
I don't know. All right. Again, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Even if we do give her the benefit of the doubt that she came prepared and had other clothes and she changed them, then why would she be worried that the CCTV would show what she's wearing when she's talking to Rita, and Rita is like, no, if they'd recognize you, they would have already arrested you. And she's like, no, but it would show what I'm wearing. Well, you wore something entirely different. Then what would it matter? So doesn't make any sense. And don't invoke brain injury again. Oh, she forgot she changed clothes, because that would be really, really annoying.
No.
Now, burning the tattoo to me is just so an admission of guilt. I mean, unless you're thinking, oh, Mari's not going to check the back of your neck until, let's say a year from now when it's all healed.
She should have burned her in other places.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if I were Mari, would I give a crap that I don't have actual proof, like the actual tattoo? Or would I say, oh, of course, she had the tattoo, she burned it off. So it doesn't make any sense. And if they really think, if Rita really thinks that Mari might be protected by a cop because he got her the CCTV, even though they said, yes, there are other hands on it. But if she really thinks, that even takes it a step further. First of all, if it's in her prison file, that means that it's in her records. If it's in her records, when cops try to figure out who somebody is, who the identity of somebody is, they first go to their database of criminals and they search if they have identifying marks. They go to their database and they search. Tattoo at the base of the neck, blah, 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 blah. Why would they not do it trying to figure out who killed Danny? And why would the cop who protects Mary, who got her the CCTV, why wouldn't she just say, well, she has a tattoo, can you run a search to see if somebody matches that description? If Drago figured it out, a cop should be able to figure it out.
Especially if Drago figured it out.
No, Drago's pretty smart about these things. But I still think that all these things don't make sense to me at all. So I had a big problem with that whole storyline, as I've had with the storyline of Ruby killing Danny to begin with, because again,
so
it's
contrived.
Premised on something that is
just contrived. But I have to say, I said it earlier in discussion with you, and you said let's save it for the event. Yeah. That sometimes you just have to give dramatic license to a show. I know,
but sometimes it's too much.
I know, but
and I will say
there's a small universe that they're working with, and if they have to have Danny's death be involved inside the prison, I think that they just created a story.
The lover of her ex-lover, who also helped to raise
I agree,
Danny.
but you do have to understand that we are working within a very limited universe.
Here's my take,
and
it's a small...
I am as mad as I was in the beginning with eye rolling. Practically, I could barely bring my eyes back from the forward from the back of my head. In reconsidering this, you do have to understand.
I understand, but there are too many of them in one storyline. And here's my other.
But
problem.
all stemming from the same storyline.
Yes, but and there are other problems with and this is also kind of, to me, echoing the Panisi storyline again, where everything was kind of contrived.
Was really stupid, but that was someone who came out of left field. At least we're working with characters we know.
Yes,
and are working with.
Here's the thing to me. This is a show that invites close inspection. It invites all of us to become detectives. You don't see us talking, I don't know, any other show, really, because there's nothing to...
Talking SVU?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love SVU, we know who did it, practically after the first 5 minutes most of the time.
What we do.
Yes, but it's because it's a formulaic show,
well,
and it doesn't try to pull...
Anyway, it's anthological, it doesn't matter.
No, but the point is, most shows... the only show that I can think of that would have merited a talking Teal sort of thing is Damages.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Damages was the only show for a long time that actually managed to surprise me and keep me at the edge of my seat. And I think Wentworth is at that level. But in the last couple of seasons, I feel again, they're trying too hard to get to what they want. And so they make all these adjustments that... If you want us to be that invested in a show, it's like this "is she dead" thing. If you want us to be that invested in a show, then somebody who's buried alive needs to be dead. There shouldn't be a question about it. So
don't even get me started.
Yeah, and I'm not getting you started, but we'll get to her later. Anyway, though, so we know that Mari said that she personally wants to kill Danny's killer. We know that Drago knows who Danny's killer is. We also know that Mari's in the slot right now. So, what will happen there? You have some predictions. We'll get to them later. Now, speaking of Mari. So, Danny's doctor is dead now, and Mary is fucked for probably 10 more years, which was a surprise because we thought that something else will land her in prison for a longer sentence, so that was nice. However, Rachel does have a problem with that, and we're putting it out there to anybody in Australia who knows the answer to this.
Well, also, Rachel, I know knows law enforcement, but I have a question about this anyway. Rachel says, "Is there no protection against double jeopardy in Australia? In the States, if you are sentenced for a serious assault and then the victim dies, you cannot be charged with murder. If the assault is still pending in court and the victim dies, then the charge can be amended." And that might be
the answer to your question.
Mary came in with her sentence. Not only was she sentenced, we have been led to believe she was almost done with that sentence. Then right as she's about to get out, the charge changes to murder. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about it because to me, yes, she was tried and convicted of assault. But now the person died. That changes to murder, and she can be tried again. I don't think just adding on the sentence.
I'll tell you why. Because I think it is, since it is the same crime, then you can't all of a sudden, you know how when somebody is arrested for something and they try to figure out, should we charge them only for manslaughter, or can we take it up to murder, or with the, maybe the jury.
Well, that's after the person has died. It's a completely different ball
what
game.
I'm saying,
if somebody was injured,
hold on a second. What I'm saying is though, that you have to decide on the charge when you try a person.
Yes, but you can't charge her for murder if the person is alive.
Well, then I don't know if for the same crime you can charge her twice. I think that's double jeopardy.
I think the crime changes.
Anyway,
I think the crime changes
We're putting it out there.
Assault, then to murder.
But she's already done her
she's already
sentence
been
for assault.
She's already been charged and she's already been convicted of assault.
Okay.
But now it's murder.
All right. You know what? This is moot because we don't know.
I know.
I'm putting it out there to anybody who does know, either in America or even better in Australia. But we are curious to know about America
Rachel,
too.
I should be bowing to you, but it just.
Well, you know what, Rachel? If you're absolutely certain, then write and explain it to us because we really, really want to know. Okay. Nevertheless, whether it's realistic or not, she does have nothing to lose now. Because up until now,
10 years is not the same as life.
It's not like B. It's not like B, and she really didn't have anything to lose. But in terms of, she was really, really, really holding her head down and trying to be, as really as invisible as possible. She could get out of there, and now she can't wait for 10 years and just hold back her, emotions. Yeah. So Lauren says. With the doctor dying, Mari has become infinitely more dangerous, as evidenced by how quickly she went after Kaz with a shiv raised. She didn't even care who saw her as she went after her nemesis. She came out of that meeting with the lawyer, went and got her shiv, and straight to Kaz. She was like, "Oh, okay, unleash
the beast." Yes.
It was a good fight scene. Many of you mentioned it wasn't anything like the B and Frankie scene, but B and Frankie was planned. It wasn't improvised. It was a fight for top dog. This was pure,
passion and trying to protect yourself.
Yep. Lily does say though, "I'm glad that we finally have a confrontation between Kaz and Mary, so that's a nice surprise that I wasn't expecting anymore. Effectively, we knew since Mary came into the prison that she had a complicated past history with Kaz, and I expected the confrontation between these two since Mary's arrival. It's nice that it finally happened, but it was almost way too late." Mm-hmm. I think that it made sense that she would have to wait until the twist happened with her trial to allow herself to go there. And plus, it seems like they really, really wanted to save a lot of things to the finale and right before the finale to do those big, like, storyline culminations. Lauren does say that she thinks they will have another big fight between the two of them. One of them will get seriously injured and the other one will rise as the top dog. Either Kaz will remain top dog or Mari will be the new top dog. And finally, Rachel says... does Drago really believe that if she kills Danny's killer, then Mary will love her in return? Mari specifically told Drago that she wanted to kill Danny's killer herself. If Drago kills Ruby while Mari is in the slot, will Mari feel robbed of her revenge? We've all seen what Mari is capable of when she's angry and the situation is personal. So I think that is a big question for the season finale.
But remember, love makes fools of us all.
We'll find out. Now, Lauren says...
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know that I agree, but it's interesting. The reason for Will and Mary's love affair was revealed. It was so that he could get those files on Channing and send him packing forever. If Will hadn't been involved with Mary, there's no way she would have so easily shown him the thumb drive. I kind of found the whole showing him strange. She's protected it since she arrived, and now she reveals it to a screw. By the way, did you notice Rita looking out of
Yes,
her
we
cell
did.
door window at the exact moment Mary showed Will the
Yes,
USB?
when we saw that, I thought, oh my God, this is really a soap opera. Everybody is when they need to be at the right time
Right
to see
place at the right-
exactly what they need to see.
Nice timing, Rita. Now, Rita knows where she could potentially get the information she needs.
Now, what did you say that you didn't agree with?
Well, I think that Will was out of his mind at the time that he.
Oh no, she's saying the reason in terms of the writers plotting why they had the affair. I definitely saw the same thing, Lauren.
Oh, so you're saying it was from.
It was so that when the
from
time
the writer's
came,
point
absolutely.
of view. No, because I don't think it had anything to do with Will.
We're not talking about the character's psyche. We're talking about the writer's psyche.
Oh, okay, I agree in that case.
We did love how she's like, well, what's in it for me? Please.
Please.
Oh, okay. But I think that still she did it because now he'll owe her, and she likes him. So it's a win-win.
And I guess she felt she had nothing to lose.
I think that it's a good thing for Mari. Yeah, exactly. What does she care? She doesn't need to protect Channing in any way. She had something that she could give him, and in return, when the time comes, he will have to help her.
For her, right?
Yes. Speaking of Rita, by the way, because yes, she was there at the right time, and I do expect her to try to get to that thumb drive now. There are only 3 things to say about Rita this episode. Lauren says,
"Oh, excuse me,
you're already bored with us?
No, you caught me in a yawn. You know, when I read out loud, I yawn."
Yes, it's to expand your larynx.
Okay, and my larynx is extremely contracted right now from allergies, constricted. We learn a new thing in this episode. Ruby doesn't know that Rita is a cop.
Yes.
I have something to say about that too.
Okay.
In 2 separate scenes, first about the CCTV footage, and then again about the tattoo being seen in the CCTV image.
Okay, okay.
Ruby asks Rita, "How do you know?" When Rita makes up excuses, Ruby seems to accept that. So clearly, she has no idea about Rita's affiliation with the police. That is interesting, and potentially something that will rear its head perhaps in season 7. I mean, an inmate being a cop, or maybe an ex-cop, if I'm guessing that Rita kills Drago in the finale, is a juicy, juicy storyline to play with. Now, let me say, first of all, that when she had her accident,
right,
Ruby,
so she knows that she used to be a cop.
She used to be a cop. She was...
Unless, again, she forgot.
No, I think that what she thinks is that she's no longer a cop, and what she doesn't know is that she's an undercover cop.
Exactly.
And that would make perfect sense, because you can't tell anybody... that especially someone with hair.
But it is a question, because there's no question that she doesn't know that she's in prison as an undercover cop. However, when she asks her how did you get the CCTV and stuff, she says my gangster buddy has connections to the police. She could have said, well, I used to be a cop. I still have friends there. She didn't.
No.
And they did that twice to us to show us that Ruby to remind us that she doesn't know that she's there as an undercover cop. But why would she pretend to never have been a cop to begin with?
No,
we know she knew that.
Yes, and I don't think Ruby forgot that because she blames her.
Yeah, for the
that's one of the reasons she's so angry with her. She blames her for having chased her down.
Right.
And causing the accident.
So I don't understand that.
Unless again it's something that she forgot, and she didn't forget. That's why they were so estranged at the beginning.
You can't use this as the excuse to everything. But
I don't find it surprising that she doesn't know that she's an undercover cop.
but why are they completely ignoring the fact that she ever was a cop? That's weird to me.
Well, maybe they're just hoping we won't think about it.
Well, again, you can't do that with a show like this. Tell us what Rachel had to say about.
Rachel says, "Why is Miles the only one who is suspicious about Rita's constant visits with the cops?"
Yes,
I've thought about this oftentimes. I mean, really, Rita has to go see the cops every other day. Mary is supposed to run half of the illegal businesses in Melbourne, and the cops never come to see her. Wouldn't the rest of the prison assume Rita is telling the cops something? Why else would they keep coming to question her if they weren't getting any answers? And this is very smart.
Yes, very smart.
Wouldn't it do more to keep Rita's cover intact for these visits to be with an attorney? She's still in her civvies, which I take to mean she hasn't got a sentence yet. It seems to me that visits from someone posing as an attorney would be a much better cover than the same two cops showing up all the time to question Rita. Absolutely.
Just right on the money.
Yeah.
Now, what I've been feeling for a long time now, Sarah put in practically one line.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm hoping the finale will set up something much better and more interesting for Rita come season 7. She's too good of an actress and character to be wasted like this. This is exactly how I've been feeling for weeks now. She had so much promise at the beginning, Rita as a character. We got so excited that she was going to fill the void. Instead, again, much like Allie, she's just been used for other people's plots. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have almost any story of her own. The story that she does have...
Well, she's trying to keep a low profile, I think.
Well, but she can keep a low profile in the prison and we can still get to know her better. Mm-hmm. We can still have some flashbacks. Yep. We can see some more of her inner world.
Yes.
There's no excuse for this. It's a waste. Okay, now a little about Boomer and Liz before we move on to the big stalker story, because there wasn't too much about Boomer and Liz this episode, but what we had was both funny and sad and sweet. On one hand, we had Boomer going to the radio, whatever, and broadcasting.
Terrible.
Which was both terrible, but it was funny because, of course, it's Boomer and she does it funny. Do I have to do everything around here? And of course, we had the reconciliation. We had her really believing her. We had her protecting her, which is what we love to see. What I'm wondering about this whole broadcasting to the whole prison thing, I wonder about two things. One is the fact that now the whole prison knows about the dementia. Is that going to come into play in the finale? Another thing that I wonder if will come to play in the finale is the fact that instead of being slaughtered, Boomer is going to have her privileges taken away from her. So now the question is, if that was just a way for them to not have Boomer in the slots because they need her in the finale,
maybe,
or if the lack of privilege is somehow going to play into something that might happen. I think it was just a way to not have her slaughtered. Because they need her in the
then she's out of the way, and
but they kind of needed to punish her in some way for it. So
yes, well, I think that it was valid for Vera to say, "Well, we see that slotting her doesn't do any good."
It kind of was like a kid in a classroom to me. That whole like a teacher saying, "Well, obviously
detention does no good."
Yeah, so write on the chalkboard 100 times. I will never broadcast anyway. I did love that on her way out to the slot, Kaz yelled out to Boomer, "Take care of Liz."
Oh yeah, that
Kaz
was so sweet.
She's truly my hero these days. I
too.
love her. And I honestly am a bit tired of the whole Liz bashing storyline. I mean, of the whole just Liz as a character, not seeing her in the middle of the yard with everybody laughing at her.
Why is everybody laughing? I think that
we just assume that
there are
stupid?
very cruel people in prison. We know that, but not everybody would be thinking it was hysterical that poor Liz has dementia. There are people there are some people who have human feelings,
and
in
it was
prison.
just too sad to see Liz week after week after week. Just it's painful. It's very painful. It has to stop at some point and shift to something else. I really hope. By the way, did she ever end up telling her kids? Because there was all that talk about Sophie. We expected Sophie to.
But she will.
Well, in that case,
unless she forgot.
In that case, it could be one of two things: either the whole Sophie thing with Mari, that we thought Mari was going to come for her children, that was either a red herring, or even worse, it was a throwaway, which we don't think ever happens on Wentworth, or at least we didn't think ever happened on Wentworth.
Well, unless it makes sense.
Well, no, but
that she would tell her children.
But that whole for one episode, they kept talking about Sophie, bring her up at every opportunity, telling Mari that she has a daughter that she's really close with. So we all thought that the natural way where this was going is because they kept telling us how people knowing you have family is a weakness.
A weakness, right?
And we thought it was going to somehow, play into something or other, but it seems like, again, either it's a storyline they decided to drop at some point, or it was supposed to lead us in that direction and then surprise us. I don't know. It seems weird. It went kind of nowhere.
Now, I don't think it's dead yet.
Well, there's only one episode left,
this season,
let's see.
Yeah.
Yes, this season, but I think to take something so small into next season would be a little, to expect people to remember, I don't know. Now, right before we move on to the stalker, and coincidentally, right before we move to the stalker, did you notice that we're seeing a lot more of Smiles lately?
We've mentioned this a couple of times already.
So not only, I mean,
Smiles is so much more prominent. She actually has, lines.
in completely useless ways. I mean, she doesn't have a storyline. She just keeps popping in and out with those little, one-liners.
But she's involved in a lot of things.
But she's involved. So I wonder if they just listened to us and said, oh, well, we should involve Smiles more, but then give her something better to do.
Jackie Brennan is so good.
But then still give her something better to do. Or if she's going to somehow figure in the stalker plot, especially since I noticed that when Channing came, she really sucked up to him. And I don't know if that's at all going to be, if it was just a way for Vera to kind of kick him in the ass, but when she says to Smiles in the end, make sure to take his visitor's pass from him. I don't know if that was meant for like a little foreshadowing that maybe Smiles is in cahoots with Shannon in some way.
Oh, I never would have thought that. I would have just.
I mean, she does seem to suck up to him. I don't know.
Well, she's a suck up.
It could be like a.
Just a little.
Yeah. All right. So Vera, Will, Jake, Channing, and the Stalker. Time to talk about them. Many of you, I think Mimi agrees, feel that this story has been dragging on and on. Obviously, they intended it all along to culminate into the season finale and be the big reveal of who's at the door at Vera's house. So, first of all, Thera says, oh, sorry, that's mine.
Are you trying to gaslight me?
I am a little bit. So, Thera says, Vera basically confirmed in this episode that the freak is dead when she talked to Will after visiting Channing and said it can't be him if he thinks she's still alive. Well, I think that she definitely confirmed that she and Will and Jake think she's dead.
Right.
I think we hopefully will only get a definitive answer at the end of the finale when we see who the stalker is.
We better bloody well get a definitive answer because I do not want to think one more second that bitch is alive.
Again, maybe as far as the Wentworth people are concerned, we were already supposed to understand that she was dead, but I think a lot of us...
still showing us black gloves and things? No.
That's right.
No.
A lot of us are still...
They're still yanking our chain.
So Channing, he's obviously coked up to the wazoo because that's the only reason that I can think of for him, A, attacking Vera and Will. I mean, there was no reason for him to attack them when they showed up at this place. He started like literally, he had a thing that he was going to beat Will across the head with. And secondly, and this might just be me, but, we were talking last week about the whole posting clippings, news clippings of Ferguson, how that's a really childish thing to do. Okay, so he's obviously really, really lost the plot on that.
It's not so much childish as it is psycho. Unless you're a cop.
But when he did
figure something out. Yeah.
But there was one little detail that I was like, really, Channing? Even if you're that coked up, really? That he actually, you know how sometimes when in the old days when they would send letters from kidnappers or things,
and they had things cut out.
And he had a thing evil cut out and put on Ferguson's face. And I was like, really? Would he really do that? But I guess maybe. Also, I'm wondering, what were those? What the hell was that with the birds that Vera was seeing when she went out to his place? I believe they were pelicans.
Yes, pelicans.
But they paid close attention to show us that she was like watching them, and I didn't understand exactly what we were supposed to.
I remember thinking of it because I love birds, and I said, "Oh, pelicans," and then I thought I saw
What's
Vera
the deal
going,
with the pelicans? Yeah,
I
don't know. Interesting. Did they eat a corpse that was thrown in the river?
I don't think pelicans are not carrion. Pelicans eat live fish that they catch out of the water. They're not carrion.
Now, Susan says, the writers should have brought Channing in earlier. I feel like with him, Ali, Mary, and the inmates who saw him visiting the prison, that storyline would have been golden, pun intended. Also, I loved I loved how Channing called out Teflon Vera, the same thing we've all been thinking. I don't think they necessarily had to bring... again, I just think they're really, really building up. Yes, they could have brought him in earlier and wrapped that whole storyline earlier and given them something else to do, but obviously they thought this was the biggest story of the season.
I think that it was an okay time to bring him in. I think it was just about right.
Now, there was a contradiction to me in what he said, practically 2 seconds apart. He says to Vera that he knows she'll do the right thing because, well, fuck, that's just the kind of person you are. But then at the same time, he thinks that she helped Ferguson escape. That completely contradicts his statement that she always does the right thing.
Right.
So that made no sense to me. Also, personally, I didn't think it made total sense that he would really think she would go and confess to the police she helped her escape so she could save Will from being involved with this. Because yes, even though we know she loves Will, it still seems to me like a very kind of contrived blackmail. But Sarah does say, the one thing Channing does do is point out that Vera and Will are each other's Achilles heel. I think in some ways Vera is less concerned for herself and more worried about Will if Joan is found. Well, and of course she should be more concerned for Will because he's the one who actually killed her.
Exactly. I mean, she's an accomplice only insofar after the fact. Yeah. Exactly.
Only in covering it up, helping covering it up.
Accessory after the fact.
Now, before we go to theories you have about who the stalker is, there is the matter of the drop-off being B's grave. Now, I have to say, only one person said that, but I have a feeling that other people could be feeling it, though I don't share this point of view specifically. And this is from a person who's just too shy, so they requested to remain anonymous. I found it very rude to have B's grave as the drop-off point for the ransom. Seeing her name etched in stone brought back the pain that the fandom felt when we lost her and Danielle the first time. Unless there's a connection between B and the stalker, they could have, or maybe should have, used Ferguson's grave. After all, this is where all the blackmailing began. But we do think that there is a connection. And we do think, not necessarily just us, but all of you, that there is a reason why they chose B's grave. And that
I don't
just to the identity of the stalker.
Accidental that it was B's grave of all places. I mean, it could have been the 7-Eleven on the corner for all we know.
No, I do think that there's a reason for
Absolutely.
it. Now, apparently we didn't notice it, but you all, of course, notice everything. And this could be another reason that they wanted us to see this, unless this was just a fuck up on their end. Apparently, the gravestone said that she died in 2017, when we all know that she died in 2016. Because we assume Wentworth happens in real time. Now, Diana has a theory about that, and she says, not sure why time is distorted, but it clearly is, as B's gravestone has her death occurring in May 2017, not in 2016, as it did in real time. Given this, I suspect I know one of the surprises in episode 12 will have to do with a time frame that seems to have passed in real time. Now, she doesn't go on to explain this, elaborate on it, or actually say what she thinks the surprise is.
Then it's not a surprise.
So honestly, I don't really understand, but what this possibly could give you is just keep an eye out for, or maybe try to develop theories, possibly about how that timeline could connect to what will happen in the finale if something didn't happen in real time, or if something did. I don't know. It's very weird to me. I wish Diana had explained some more what she thought. Okay, so stalker theories. We have plenty of those. Let's start with David. And by the way, David's theory, I chose his because it was very well thought out, but he represents a lot of, he's echoing a lot of things that you also, many of you said.
David, I'm more convinced than ever that the stalker is Brenda Murphy. I'm convinced that Brenda didn't know about Ferguson's death and used her escape as a chance to get some payback on Vera, convincing her that Joan was out to get her. That makes sense. Yes. She stumbled upon the murder cover-up when she followed the trio and saw an opportunity to cash in. Why hasn't she demanded cash up to this point? Because she never knew the true extent of the plot up until she followed Vera. Up until she followed Vera, Will, and Jake.
Now, this actually I forgot to take out. That's my comment on this. And this is what I have to say about that, which, again, could be that the writers didn't think about it, or that it's not actually Murphy, or something else. But why would she figure out that Ferguson is dead? All she saw from afar, because we saw her take the picture, I don't think she actually could hear them talk. All she saw was Will, Jake, and Vera digging up something. Unless they didn't cover her up, and then Brenda came and saw that it was
She doesn't look like her.
She doesn't look like her, and I doubt that they. Well, we know that they covered her up. We know that they covered her up. So why would you think? Why would she figure out that she was dead? Why would she figure out that that's what they were doing there?
Does she make any sense say anything about it being Joan? Whatever it is, it looks fishy. So maybe
she doesn't even
she
know what
doesn't
it is.
even
She's
know
just
what
saying,
it
"I
is.
know
She
what
just
you're hiding,"
knows
but she doesn't.
that there's
She doesn't.
something, they
Maybe
dug up
she-
a
It
body.
might be a bluff.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then all she needed to do was send the cops over there and let them find out what they find
Exactly.
out. Okay, that's possible.
Check out the sleeves in both pictures.
Yes, and a couple of you pointed this out, that the sleeves, keep going.
It's absolutely and unequivocally Brenda Murphy. She even chose B's grave to do the trade-off. The person that Brenda is accused of having let loose on Ferguson.
Okay, so the sleeves, David sent us, thank you, David, the two pictures. One is the one from the first episode of this season. I think it was episode 1, when Brenda talks to Jake in the parking lot, and one when she opens the bag, or when she takes the cops.
Right.
It shows that it's the same kind of jacket. Now, if this were a very elaborate jacket that unlikely would have been worn by multiple people, I would have said, well, yeah. This is kind of a more
generic.
Yeah. I mean, still, it's a good piece of evidence. Good catch on all of you. But I don't think it's still unequivocally her. But I do think that the location is definitely a hint, because she was the scapegoat in B's murder.
David
goes on to say his
continues,
theories.
I have a theory that Channing will follow Vera one final time in episode 12 and see an exchange between Vera and Brenda. He will mistakenly shoot Brenda dead, and Vera will use this opportunity to frame Channing for Ferguson's murder. He has the shrine, he has the motive, and he is evidently losing his mind. It's the only logical conclusion to this story if Will, Jake, and Vera are to continue into season 7 unscathed.
Well, I don't necessarily think that all three of them will continue unscathed.
I'm hoping that if they don't, that it's Jake that we lose.
Yes, but I also think that there's no reason for Channing to see Brenda and Vera have any exchange, because Brenda, if it is indeed her, already gave the cops what she had. Well, she didn't send the picture, but right, that's true. She didn't send the picture. She sent the coordinates, but she had the picture to prove that they're involved. So I take it back. Okay, now I have a few more theories. Here's Bridget's. Once I heard the money drop-off was B's grave, I became wildly enthusiastic that it was a clue to a secret plot by someone, Maxine perhaps. She could have been out of jail by now.
No. Why would Maxine do this?
To extort the money to avenge B's death. Crazy? I know I'm reaching, but why would they bring up B? Well, obviously we think it's because of Murphy. I don't think that they would bring up...
and I don't think Maxine would try to extort money from...
It's not her style.
Yeah.
Unless she also, like we are, so angry at her unceremonious
and
exit.
I was thinking about this the other day, that we didn't hear that, Maxine has gotten well.
No,
Maxine
we
has
died.
I know, but it
doesn't make sense. That
it just doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense that there wouldn't be some little whisper. I have something sad to tell you. Maxine passed away.
The only thing that I have told you, I think that it ended kind of ugly between
the writers,
Vince Socrates, and that's the only reason to completely divorce himself of a character that we love.
That was so beloved and so integral.
Yeah, and to do it and to kind of pluck her out in the middle of a storyline.
And then never hear about her again.
Yep. So Camille says that on the Wentworth's Facebook page, there are almost 1,000 replies as to who the stalker is. I'm sure that by now there are many more than 1,000. And she's giving us the top 5. Murphy, B. She says one of the theories was especially good about B. Erica Davidson, Fletcher, Joan, Fletcher. Joan, of course, and some even say Bridget.
Oh, Bridget. Never. Why would it be Bridget?
Bridget
has everything she's wanted. She's got her girl.
It's not Bridget.
No,
it's not Bridget. Now, Shannon says, Jake probably isn't involved because whoever is doing it has tipped off the cops. And unless Jake has a really good alibi, he would go down with Vera and Will. The stalker didn't send the cops the photo, just the coordinates for the grave. So now we'll find out, hopefully for sure, it's actually Ferguson in there. Hopefully now the cops can confirm that. However, I do want to say, when we talk about the coordinates, would Brenda Murphy know how to send coordinates to the cops? I mean, I wouldn't. It never
even would occur to me.
Yeah, it sounds kind of something like more professionally done. I don't know.
Coordinates. I didn't even catch that. That must have been that minute I fell asleep.
Twice. Kathy says, I just can't figure out how the hell Murphy would know to follow the threesome to the freak's grave and take pictures on her own. Someone else on the inside has to be involved with her, and that brings me back to the Pips. Somebody had to have access
Absolutely.
to Vera's office. Now that the blackmailer has called the cops about the grave, I'm sure they will also turn over those photos. Unless, again, they will blackmail Vera, and now that Vera knows that they're not bluffing, then she will actually pay.
I think if it's someone from the inside, it has to be Miles. Because she always needs money,
Right.
because she's a gambling addict.
She has no more, except for that one time about the aneurysm. She has never said no to anybody.
No, and if it has to be internal, and it makes sense that it would be internal.
That she would have help from the inside.
I think that it would be the only person I can possibly think of that would have access even.
And you know
would be
what?
Miles.
I kept saying, why did she suck up to Channing? But actually she said something like, when are you returning? As if thinking Vera's not here for much longer. So it could be.
It could still be
an interesting
Jake.
idea. No, it can't, because it would be incriminating himself.
True.
Yes. Okay. Finally, we have Lauren, who says, "I'm thinking that Smiles may die. No real evidence to go on here, but rumor has it that two characters are dying. We'll talk about it in a second. And I'm scratching my head as I don't think any of the main characters are going to die if I go off social media and all over the filming of season 7. So the thing about the two characters dying, some of you said there was a rumor, some of you said that. I saw a cover of a TV magazine that said the two characters are going to die in the finale, so I'm assuming it's legitimate. I'm hoping it's not going to be Smiles. I was thinking more in terms of Jake and somebody else.
Or it could be Brenda Murphy.
Or Murphy, and probably...
It could be the stalker.
Probably Drago. But in terms of the stalker story, if somebody has to die from there...
And Ruby. I always thought it was
Ruby,
Ruby.
Right. So, since we're talking about who's going to die, let's talk about your general theories that are unrelated to the stalker. We have quite a few of those, and of course, they all revolve around the Kaz, Mary, Drago, Ruby storyline, which makes sense. So, David says, Season 6 will end with Rita having to kill Drago in order to protect Ruby, thus landing a real sentence for murder.
We've all been waiting for this.
Mari will remain unaware of the information regarding Danny's killer until later in Season 7. That's interesting. Sam?
Sam says, the way more predictable story to me is the Ruby, Rita, Drago, Mary story. Rita will become a criminal to protect Ruby. She'll have to kill Drago to save Ruby's life. I'd love to be surprised by this storyline heading another way, but I feel pretty confident that this is where it's going. The promo tries to make us think that Drago traps Rita in a closet during the Drago-Ruby boxing match. I missed that whole thing.
I saw the trapping thing. But
I missed the whole boxing thing. I don't know. Again, I must have dozed off. So she can't protect her. The promo tries to make us think that Drago traps Rita in a closet during the Drago-Ruby boxing match so she can't protect her. So I know that's not how it will go down.
Exactly, Sam. Whatever they show us in the trailer, you know that's not going to be
It's a tease.
Yes.
It's an edit.
Let's see what Shannon says.
Oh, I have more?
You have more.
Oh, my God. Oh, I've got so much more. Shannon says that Ruby is probably going to die next week, especially now that Drago knows Ruby killed Danny. Allie will find this out too and get over Ruby pretty damn quick. The fact that he raped Ruby's girlfriend, I'm still not sure, might not even come up with Allie if Drago gets to Ruby first. I've been hearing rumors that there will be 2 big deaths next week. Ruby will probably be one of them since she's already aggravating that aneurysm by banging her head against the wall in her cell. Allie is probably going to get her ass kicked for hitting the panic button, but that won't happen until after Kaz gets out of the slot. I don't think she'll die, though, because I'm pretty sure she's in Season 7, according to Jenko's Instagram.
Yes, I think she is, too. Now, let's see. Lauren's prediction. Lauren's prediction of Smiles was supposed to be in here.
Oh, okay.
So but actually it did kind of go together with what we were saying earlier. But this is just to go back a second to the stalker. I'm betting that Murphy is revealed as a stalker, and somehow Vera and Will managed to pin the whole burial of Joan on her, saving their asses. Okay. Now, Thera?
Thera says, I think Ruby is going to be in a coma, like Allie was at the end of Season 4. Again, recycling scripts. either from her banging her head against the wall or from Zara attacking her in the next episode. If there will be a fight between Ruby and Zara, then Rita and or Allie will jump in between them. Rita will then murder Zara and end up getting in prison for real. I mean, I think Vera's stalker will die as well. That would be lovely. I think everybody pretty much thinks that,
Which makes
that
me wonder if
Rita's
it's too
going to
much
have
obvious.
to kill
It's too obvious.
Zara and end up in prison for real.
Again, is it too obvious? I don't know. We'll find out. Now, Sarah says, I don't know the context. It could have been a prank or a joke, but a possible season 7 teaser. I've seen a picture of Vera in a teal sweatshirt in the prison set. Just saying. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that picture as well, and it was something like that she was cold on the set, so she took a hoodie and put it on. I don't think that it actually is from the show.
I don't want to see Vera in prison because then it's like Ferguson being in prison.
Well, everybody ends up in prison. Everybody who starts off as a guard or something ends up as a prisoner.
Vera's been a good cop. So.
And Vera has been spectacular this season. She's been kick-ass. She's been tough.
And
she's been great.
She doesn't abuse the prisoners in any way.
No. Okay, Lily.
Lily says, my guesses for the season finale is that Mary will find out that Ruby killed her son, and she will try to kill her in return. And, as she has nothing left to lose because she already faces a 10-year sentence for the doctor's death, she does have life imprisonment is different from 10 years, but nevertheless, she will do it herself and not ask Drago. Furthermore, it's personal, and maybe she needs to do it herself in order to mourn her son. In short, I think the episode will end with us not knowing if Ruby is dead or if she will live, and we'll have to wait to season 7. I sincerely hope that the writers didn't do that and find something else. Excuse me.
I've given you too much to read.
Yeah. First of all, because it's too obvious. There is absolutely no surprise. And second, it will be repetitive because we already had this kind of situation at the end of season 4 when Bee died.
Yes, agreed. Rachel, finally.
Rachel says that we see in the preview that there will be one last fight, Ruby versus Drago, and Drago is planning on cheating by wearing knuckle dusters.
You guys must be watching the previews on slow-mo to catch all the details because they go way too quickly.
And also, I just must have had a little TIA or something during that promo because I just don't remember.
No, I'll tell you what, it was mostly focused on Vera and the stalker, and so it was kind of hard to. It's hard. The previews go so quickly.
She is obviously planning on killing Ruby for Mary. I think Allie will step in and try to stop the fight, and she'll get bashed by Drago. Poor. Is she just destined to end up in a coma at the end of every season? When Mari finds out what happened, she'll kill Drago herself, but will make it look like Ruby did it. Ruby will get charged, and that's what will keep her in prison. Ruby is a short term also. Someone will discover Rita's true identity, and we will be left hanging about what that person will do with that information. Kaz will maintain her spot as top dog, I certainly hope so, but Mari will make it clear she is coming after her.
Another thing that some of you think that the deaths will be the cliffhanger, that we won't know who died until next season, and I sure hope that's not the case. Because
why do we have to have a cliffhanger?
Well, we don't always have cliffhangers, but in a season like this, it seems like
Hot Girl in a Hot Car was not a cliffhanger.
That was my favorite.
It was
finale.
a lovely, wonderful, fulfilling finale that made everybody happy.
I'll tell you why I think there might be a cliffhanger, though I never advocate for cliffhangers. I think they're stupid because by the time you just left there hanging, and by the time it comes back, you forget about it. So the only reason I think maybe there'll be a cliffhanger is because this season obviously did not wrap up. There are a lot of things that are going to carry through to next season. So they might do that. I hope not, but we'll see. Now, what's the word that I'm looking? Notwithstanding everything we said here, usually the finales do deliver. Usually they're written by Pete. They
really do.
So Pete knows how to really, really pull things together. And I mean, everybody.
And with a punch.
All the writers this season have been amazing, and that's because they've used their top-notch John Ridley, Marcia Gardner, I think Andrew Anastasios also, and Pete, of course. So everything was top-notch in terms of the writing, but the finales do usually deliver. Even last season that we really, really cringed through had a really excellent finale. So I do hope that we have a lot of satisfaction next week. Only 2 days left, and we'll know Well, know how it ended. So I'm sure you'll have lots to say after the finale. Do write to us, ladypartsvlog@gmail.com. Remember, you have an extra day. The deadline is Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Time, not Saturday.
Thanks to me.
Thanks to Mimi. Thank her. And the Talking Teal itself will only be posted Monday. And also don't forget, after the season finale, to go on our blog and get your survey to fill it out and to work on your submissions. Alrighty? Thank you as always for joining us. Thank you for all your emails and participation.
Yes, excellent, excellent, excellent.
You're super duper and we love you. And we will see you again next week to talk about the season finale. Bye bye.